It's another blistering hot Texas day. Let's continue to work on the bus. So I'm going to put a couple more relays in here, and I hope to get the engine completely wired today. I installed the starter relay, or solenoid, I don't know which this is, on the firewall right here. Last time I had to remove it real quick and grind this up because it is ground off of this base plate right here that attached to it, so I ground some stuff up. Now I'm going to install the main relay and a fuse block somewhere around here right next to it. So that's how I have it designed. These two, so this is my main relay, this is going to feed everything. This is my starter solenoid. I'll explain it later. Here's the old cable. Gonna make the new cable just identical. So these ends aren't very good, they're garbage, so I'm not gonna try to rebuild all this and then reuse these. I'm just gonna get new lugs, or whatever these are called. New ground is in place. I put a washer on there, cleaned behind the bolts, and attached that bolt. Like I said, I'm still gonna get a new one of those. For the positive side, off the positive terminal of the battery, I'm going to have 3 wires. Main starter wire, main power wire, and the ignition. So I'm going to hook all 3 of these directly to the battery. The starter wire is going to go directly to the starter coil, or the starter solenoid, and run down, go through the starter solenoid, run down to the starter without any protection. This wire is going to run straight off the battery, go into a relay, go into a, what am I trying to say, circuit breaker, an 80 amp circuit breaker. Then it's going to go to the main relay, and then it's going to go all to the fuse block and all the accessories. Why I'm doing it like this is there will only be power to the starter when the key is actually all the way pushed forward and trying to start it. Why I'm doing that is just less power to less places, a little bit safer in my mind. I don't know if that's true, but that's how I'm going to do it. Why did I mount all this in the engine bay? Well, you want it as close to the battery as possible. If you have a fault or something right next to the battery and there's no fuse before it, it's just going to start a fire. If there's a fuse or a circuit breaker between right next to the battery, it'll blow the circuit breaker before it actually does any harm. So I'm going to run this battery, big wire straight to here. This wire is the exciter wire, or excuse me, this wire charges the battery, and that's the one we put the fuse on last week. This part is going to go straight down to the starter, so the starter is going to be powered, and the solenoid are going to be powered with the same wire. I'm going to just have a jumper go from the main starter lug to the solenoid, and then that 6 gauge wire is going to come to here, and that is going to go to here for everything inside the engine bay that needs to be on when the engine's on. And then another wire is going to route into the cab, into another fuse box and relay panel for all the internal stuff, lights, etc. There's not going to be much more than lights, but you know what I mean. Well, I made very little progress today. I got the main wire kind of done. Got that kind of done. Broke the relay off, the little plastic tab on top of the relay, twice. I had 2 of them, broke them off twice. I did get the coil mounted and this little ground wire on it. Put a new end on it. Hopefully it's good inside of here, inside the distributor. Yeah, I'm not making very good progress, but it's gonna seem like I did all kinds of good stuff because YouTube. Working on the old bus today. Pretty decent, huh? New lug is going to go down to the battery, or excuse me, the starter, and that's going to go right here. For this end, I really want to make it so this doesn't come loose and look like crap. So I'm going to do it a little bit different, or not different, I guess, but I'm going to do it different than I was planning. Got it all hooked together. All they need is a battery. This little guy's gonna go right here. I make the wire, the power lead for the coil. Next step is to connect the main starter wire, this big dog, to the starter, and put a jumper to the solenoid, which looks like that's kind of how they wired it, but not really. The problem with that is I have to crawl under this dog to do that, and I don't know if you can tell, but well, I'll find one for you. These dogs, I don't know what they are called. I call them goat heads. They're everywhere and they suck really bad. I think my 2¼ ton jack will lift the front of this dog up. Well, that was terrifying. So the wiring they do have is a little screwy. Here's the big cable, and then here's like 2 or 3 other wires running off of it. Here's another one running up here. So I'm not sure what all of these are. I think so. This is the, so this big one is where the main cable goes. I know that. There's a spark plug wire. It's not supposed to be there. I'll pull that back up there. Okay, first things first, I'm going to pull off that big wire. Go from there. Program to remove the pulley off the alternator. Hopefully this will hold it. Yeah, I'm gonna call that good. And I only scratched it a little bit. Now they got a lot of that stuff out of the way, and I have that double or dual pulley on, whatever it's called. dual belt pulley. This alternator is going to have to come out quite a bit. I think I missed this. I wired the coil, used the same ground, just redid the head of it, and I ran a hot wire to the coil that will be turned on by the main ignition. I ran the exciter wire to the back of the alternator. I just have to run the starter wire to the battery, the main power battery, the main starter wire, I think what it's called, this big dog. I ordered some heat shielding for this, but it's the wraparound easy stuff, so I'll put that on at a later date. I already put the jumper and the main cable on there. Now I just have to tighten them. Got it connected. Main wire and the jumper. Missing a few parts, but I'll show you kind of what I got going on so far. So battery positive, battery negative. Main, the starter wire will go through this solenoid and then down to the starter. There's a jumper wire on the main wire that will engage the starter solenoid. An engine will start, hopefully. The ignition, which I don't have yet, and an ignition wire, which I don't have yet. One, when you turn the key on, it'll go to this relay that isn't there because I broke it. There we go. The key will get turned on, turn on this relay, which will send power to all these, the coil and the exciter, and I'm gonna have two more to the radiator fans, which also I don't have yet. So big dreams. He'll start all that. So coil, spark plugs, I'm gonna replace all the spark plugs. Just gonna hope these wires work. Ground obviously is pretty simple, go to the ground. This, having the bus off the ground is pretty nice. Just, you sit up in the engine bay, but you do have to watch where you take a seat. Next thing I'm gonna do is remove all these. I don't know why you would have all those. Well, I know this one's for vacuum, and these, all of these, I assume is for the heater. So I'm not gonna have a heater in it yet. If I do, I'll probably just install an electric heater. Doesn't that just look 1,000 times better? tried to do this the right way. Now I'm going to do it the quick way. I'm gonna call it a video there. I got the engine bay cleaned up quite a bit, got some new wiring done, mostly did a lot of stuff off screen and just ordered a buttload of stuff. So